Throughout history, thousands of men have called themselves conquerors, kings, heroes, but only a handful changed the course of civilization forever. So who truly deserves to be called the greatest warrior in history? Is it the man who conquered the known world before 30? Or the tactical genius who brought mighty empires to their knees? The answer isn't as simple as you think. Before we choose the greatest warrior, we need rules. After all, how do you compare an ancient king with a bronze spear to a gunpowder emperor with artillery? Is it simply the total number of battles won? The sheer square mileage of an empire? Tactical genius under fire? Personal bravery on the front lines? Or the permanent legacy left behind? To make our comparison fair and objective, today we will judge every single contender across 5 rigorous categories. First, battlefield victories, measuring win rate and dominance. Second, tactical brilliance, evaluating adaptability and maneuvers. Third, leadership and loyalty, measuring courage under fire and how fiercely soldiers fought for their commander. Fourth, legacy and historical impact, assessing how long their empire and cultural reforms endured. And fifth, difficulty of enemies, measuring whether they fought undisciplined tribes or heavily armed superpowers. Every commander will earn a score out of 10 in each category for a maximum possible score of 50 points. Let the battle begin. Our first contender, Alexander the Great. He became king at just 20 years old. Over the next decade, he led his armies across 22,000 miles, from the shores of Greece to the distant rivers of India. He never lost a single battle, not once. Against overwhelming odds at Gaugamela, his companion cavalry shattered the mighty Persian Empire. Let's check his scorecard. Battlefield victories, 10 out of 10. Leadership, 10 out of 10. Legacy, 10 out of 10. But he has one fatal flaw. When he died suddenly at 32, he left no heir, and his vast empire collapsed in a bloody civil war almost immediately. Let us examine why Alexander scores so highly across our criteria. At the Battle of Gaugamela in 331 BC, facing King Darius and a Persian army that heavily outnumbered his own, Alexander noticed a brief opening in the enemy center. Instead of playing defensive, he personally led his companion cavalry in a daring diagonal wedge charge directly at Darius himself. The psychological shock shattered the Persian lines instantly. For battlefield victories, Alexander earns a flawless 10 out of 10. For leadership and personal bravery, fighting on the front lines where he suffered severe chest and head wounds alongside his troops, 10 out of 10. For legacy, spreading Hellenistic culture and founding over 20 cities across 3 continents, 10 out of 10. But Alexander had one fatal weakness. When he died suddenly in Babylon at just 32 years old, he left no viable heir. His vast empire collapsed almost immediately into decades of bloody civil war among his surviving generals. Total score, 48.5 out of 50. Our next contender is the man who transformed Rome from a republic into an empire, Julius Caesar. Where Alexander was a pure military conqueror, Caesar was a rare blend of tactical genius, master military engineer, and brilliant political operator. During his 8-year conquest of Gaul, Caesar defeated fierce Celtic and Germanic tribes, capturing 800 cities. His undisputed masterpiece was the siege of Alesia in 52 BC. Surrounding the Gallic stronghold of Vercingetorix, Caesar built an 11-mile inner fortification wall to keep the besieged army inside, and then built an astonishing 14-mile outer wall to defend his own legions from a massive Gallic relief army attacking from the rear. Trapped between 2 enemy forces, Caesar personally led his cavalry into the fray and won a crushing victory. Later, crossing the Rubicon River with the immortal words, "The die is cast," he systematically defeated his rivals across Spain, Greece, and North Africa during the Roman Civil War. Let's check Caesar's scorecard. Victories, 9 out of 10. Tactical brilliance, 9 out of 10. Leadership, 10 out of 10. Legacy, 10 out of 10. Total score, 47 out of 50.
Unlike Alexander, Caesar won battles while building a political structure that governed the Mediterranean for centuries.
Our third contender, Genghis Khan. Born in the harsh steppes of Mongolia, he accomplished what was thought impossible. He unified the warring nomadic tribes into a single unstoppable war machine. Under his command, Mongol horse archers revolutionized cavalry warfare with speed, precision, and terrifying psychological warfare. Here is a fact that will blow your mind. His generals conquered more territory in 25 years than the entire Roman Empire conquered in 400 years. On our scorecard, his battlefield dominance and adaptability score a perfect 10 out of 10.
What if the greatest warrior isn't measured by the size of his empire, but by the sheer terror he inflicted on the world's greatest superpower? Meet Hannibal Barca of Carthage. In 218 BC, Hannibal did what Rome considered physically impossible. He marched an army of 90,000 infantry, 12,000 cavalry, and 37 war elephants across the freezing, treacherous peaks of the Alps directly into northern Italy. Once on Roman soil, Hannibal waged 15 years of masterclass asymmetric warfare without ever losing a battle in Italy. At the Battle of Cannae in 216 BC, Hannibal executed the most perfect double encirclement in military history. By allowing his center to bend backward while his hardened African flanks closed the trap, he annihilated a Roman army of 80,000 men in a single afternoon, a tactical masterpiece still taught in military academies worldwide. Let's check his scorecard. Tactical brilliance, a perfect 10 out of 10. Leadership, 9.5 out of 10. Difficulty of enemies, 10 out of 10, facing the full might of Rome. But denied siege engines and reinforcements by corrupt politicians back home, he could never breach Rome's walls and lost his final battle at Zama. Total score, 46.5 out of 50.
From ancient battlefields, we leap forward to the age of gunpowder and artillery, Napoleon Bonaparte. Rising from an obscure artillery officer during the French Revolution, Napoleon conquered most of continental Europe against 6 successive coalition armies. Napoleon reorganized the French military into self-contained corps that could march on separate roads at lightning speed and unite precisely at the point of attack. In 1805, at the Battle of Austerlitz, his undisputed masterpiece, Napoleon feigned weakness on his right flank, lured the combined Austro-Russian armies out of their fortified high ground, and then smashed through their weakened center. In total, Napoleon fought 60 pitched battles, winning 53 of them. Let's check his scorecard. Victories, 9.5 out of 10. Tactical brilliance, 9.5 out of 10. Legacy, 9.5 out of 10 for the Napoleonic Code. But his greatest enemy wasn't another army, it was his own limitless ambition. His disastrous 1812 invasion of Russia, where freezing blizzards and starvation wiped out over 400,000 of his troops, marked the beginning of his downfall. Total score, 47 out of 50.
Of course, human history is vast, and a single episode can barely scratch the surface of the commanders who shaped our world. Before we reveal our final top 5 ranking, let's honor the legendary champions whose names still echo through time. Leonidas of Sparta, who defied a massive Persian invasion with 300 warriors at Thermopylae. Saladin, the chivalrous sultan who united the Islamic world and recaptured Jerusalem with remarkable honor and mercy. Miyamoto Musashi, Japan's legendary sword saint, who fought 60 lethal duels without a single defeat and wrote the Book of 5 Rings. Shaka Zulu, the military genius who revolutionized African warfare with the short stabbing Iklua spear and the deadly buffalo horns encirclement formation. Richard the Lionheart, England's warrior king who led cavalry charges from the front during the Third Crusade. And Attila the Hun, the scourge of God whose horse archers brought the Western Roman Empire to its knees. Every one of these titans will get their own dedicated deep dive episode right here on this channel, so make sure you hit that subscribe button right now. The moment has arrived. We have tabulated the scores across battlefield victories, tactical brilliance, leadership, legacy, and difficulty of enemies. Here is our official ranking of history's greatest champions. Coming in at number 5, Hannibal Barca with 46.5 points. While he is history's pure tactical gold standard, losing his war prevents him from climbing higher. At number 4, Napoleon Bonaparte with 47 points. A strategic powerhouse whose laws still govern Europe, but whose disastrous winter invasions tarnished his record. Tied at number 3, Julius Caesar with 47 points. The ultimate statesman-soldier who conquered Gaul and mastered siege engineering. Coming in at number 2, Genghis Khan with 48 points. The man who conquered the largest contiguous landmass in human history and revolutionized speed and psychological warfare. And at number 1, Alexander the Great with 48.5 points. King at 20, conqueror of the known world by 30, and undefeated across 22,000 miles of warfare against overwhelming odds. Alexander wears the crown of history's greatest warrior.
But there is one major problem with this ranking. Many historians believe history's greatest undefeated general wasn't Alexander the Great at all. He fought over 100 major battles against two superpowers, the Byzantine and Persian empires, often heavily outnumbered, and he never tasted defeat even once. That man was Khalid ibn al-Walid, the Sword of Allah. Did we rank him too low? Or does Alexander still wear the crown? Let us know your ranking in the comments down below. In our next episode, we are diving deep into the extraordinary mythic life of our number 1 ranked champion, Alexander the Great. How did a boy tutored by Aristotle transform into a blood-stained conqueror who wept because there were no more worlds to conquer? Was he truly history's greatest champion, or has legend outgrown reality? Hit that subscribe button and turn on notification bells right now so you don't miss episode 2. Thank you for watching History's Greatest Champions, and we'll see you on the next battlefield.